All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. You know, Major League Baseball ditches disabled list, not disability, sorry about that, disabled, over social justice concerns. Major League Baseball will replace the disabled list with the injured list for the 2019 season amid concerns the term disabled was insensitive. The disabled list has been a part of professional baseball since the mid-60s. Though there are records of some teams using a disabled list as far back as the 20th century, it's become second nature to refer as an injured or exhausted player on the DL. So if you're looking for who's on the DL tonight, you're not going to find them. But MLB has been reportedly playing around with the idea of renaming the injured roster in order to better reflect the condition of players who skip games for medical or physical reasons, according to ESPN. The league will make the change out of the concern that the term disabled for injured players falsely conflates disabilities. All right, so I just had to bring that. The DL, I mean, finding out if your player's on the DL list and when they're coming off the DL list, and, you know, sitting and watching a baseball game and the announcer in the beginning talks about, goes down the DL list and starts talking about, you know, who's been on there 16 days and who might be coming off in 4 or 5. So the DL list is going to disappear, okay, disappear in the next, this year, 2019. All right, that being said, let's move over to something else. Now, infrastructure, before we get back to the border crisis and the shutdown, and the President of the United States says he will build the wall, period. That's what he says. He will do it, okay? And even if he has to declare a state of emergency, he will build it. So here's what I want to say. Here's the other thing I want to watch for. There's a couple things I want to make reference. You know, we're asking for $5.7 billion, all right? Now, the other night in the State of the Union address, okay, infrastructure, all right, the Democrats, let me tell you why. The Democrats are loving everything and want to know why the president's not talking about infrastructure. I, for one, am in fear of a $1 trillion infrastructure bill, and I know why the Democrats are salivating and can't wait to get their hooks into a $1 trillion infrastructure bill. A, to grease all of their union buddies, okay, to fund all of their so-called transportation boondoggles. This is from Forbes magazine, okay? And this goes back before Jerry Brown left. But I was looking at some old articles, okay, in my archives. And this goes back before Jerry Brown left California as the governor. And Jerry Brown leaves California with a $100 billion train debt, okay? Now, all we keep hearing in this we can't build a train. Now, let me just stay here. If you're out there and you are discussing with somebody and they say, well, this is a bold approach. This new Green Deal is a bold approach. If any green, left-leaning socialist state should be able to put in place the new Green Deal, it should be none other than California. Now, they want to end air travel, almost completely eliminate it, within 10 years. Now, millennials that do think that the earth is burning up on a daily basis, and by this summer, if not next, it's game over. We got about a couple years, and the earth is frying as you see it right before your eyes there in Minnesota, like Amy Klobuchar and her supporters. But for those out there, those are the same millennials that are going to want to know why Southwest is not offering $49 to Vegas for a weekend. Wait a minute. How come Southwest is not offering one-ways to Florida for 49 bucks? How come right? I'm just using South or Delta, whatever, okay? Oh, yeah. When you think in 10 years you're going to get on a train, infrastructure in this country is a disaster, not because when President Trump says, you know, we travel the world, okay, and we go to Saudi Arabia and we go to the United Arab Emirates, is that what it is? You know, UAB, right? Okay. We travel to China, we travel to different countries in the world, and their infrastructure is amazing, absolutely amazing, okay? And the reason it is because the government decides what projects, all right? When they decide the projects, there's no union greasing. Look at Europe, okay? There's no greasing in a lot of these countries of Democrat union politicians, okay, that they have to go through. There's not 5 layers of theft of the money before they work on the project. When they say the estimated project is going to be $1 billion, for example, it's done with $1 billion. It doesn't turn into a $22, $23 billion project. And that's going on all over the world, but we can't perfect that here in America because of the crooks on the Democrat side there. And I'll say there's some Republicans out there too. But for example, California Governor Gavin Newsom will have to deal with the financial mess left behind by outgoing Governor Jerry Brown of the Democrat, both Democrats. It's not just $1 trillion unfunded pension liabilities that they have. Okay. Another one is the major challenges that Newsom will confront as chief executive of the world's 5th largest economy is what to do with the high-speed rail project that Governor Brown has kept on life support and which has been described as one of the biggest public policy failures in the state's history. Now, also, when you're talking about this rapid bullet train, okay, why don't you look up Dianne Feinstein, and why don't you look up Dianne Feinstein's husband? So why don't you just Google Dianne, see what happens, I don't know. Google Dianne Feinstein's high-speed rail project, California. Dianne Feinstein's husband, high-speed rail project, California. See what happens, okay? Now, the project, the high-speed rail project, Brown insisted upon and developed into financial disaster very different from the plain gold plan sold to the Golden State voters a decade ago. The California high-speed rail project in 2008 had an estimated cost of $39 billion to build high-speed train services between Northern California and Southern California and the Central Valley. Despite the project being significantly scaled back, the price tag for the downsized system is likely approaching $100 billion. The first passengers to ride on the key Los Angeles-San Francisco route are projected to board no earlier than 2033. Okay? It is 2000 2033, $100 billion. The reason I wanted to do that is there's some things out here that we've got to put into perspective of a clear circle to keep track of. One, the President of the United States is asking for $5.7 billion for border security on our southern border. That is hopefully going to stop, between illegal drugs and people pouring into this country, the cost of about $150 to $200 billion a year on us, the taxpayers, for taking care of them. Put those numbers in perspective, and then listen to the State of the Union, where the president does want an infrastructure bill. Now, our infrastructure is collapsing, and it would be nice to not hear about all the high-speed trains. Now, don't feel that high-speed trains are not obtainable, okay? Because all around the world, they have some great high-speed trains, all right? And it would be nice to have some high-speed train travel. But maybe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez needs to come out and say, hey, we need to get our high-speed trains, we need to get these crooked people out of the way of the funds, because we're not going to be flying in 10 years and we need these trains. Alexandria, the trains will not run on time. I don't know if you understand what that means. The trains need to run on time, and they will not run on time according to your Green Deal and what you want to do. And the infrastructure bill, we have to keep an eye on, that if we turn out $1 trillion in this country, that we don't end up having our money go to California to try to complete these boondoggles, these major disasters throughout the country that are sitting out there waiting for our tax money to finish, because the states are out of money as much as they... Look at the MARTA. Look at MARTA. Look at the whole deal. Infrastructure, we have to be careful not to pass it for Democrats to steal it, period. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to take a brief break. We'll come back. Are they planning to impeach the President of the United States? I promise we're going to talk about that today. Take us to break, Josh.